I don't know how much longer I can keep it up, but life as a vampire has been the greatest thrill I've ever known. It all started last night. A girl I'd been talking to reaffirmed that she didn't want to date me, and it hurt, so I waited for the sun to go down and drove over to her building. I knocked on her door, and then hid off to the side so she couldn't see me. When she opened the door, I jumped into it, shoving my hand into her mouth to muffle her exclamation of surprise. I pulled her into the kitchen, stuffed a dish rag into her mouth, and took full advantage of her disorientation to do what I'd been dreaming of doing for months. I jerked her head back by the hair and sunk my teeth deep into the flesh of her neck. Once I hit her jugular vein and her blood gushed into my mouth, it hit me. I was really doing it. This act, the culmination and pinnacle of my years of sexually charged fantasies of violence, was at long last my reality. I lost myself in the taste of her blood and the sensation of swallowing it, gulping down her life essence and holding her body close to mine, savoring the final, weakening motions of her limbs. Eventually, she stopped moving, and there was no more blood for me to drink. Still enchanted with the novelty of what I'd just committed, I sank down onto the floor, leaning against the cupboard, and sat reeling in ecstasy. I don't know how long I sat for in that position, but music and vibration above me jerked me back into awareness, though I wasn't sure that it was reality until I realized that it was her phone ringing on the kitchen counter. For the first time since I'd made up my mind to do this, I thought rationally, and it occurred to me that walking out of this blood-smeared apartment the way I'd walked in might not be the most practical course of action. I stood up and turned around, and I saw that a mutual acquaintance of me and my late crush was calling her. I froze up. The phone stopped ringing, and a single vibration followed. I turned on the screen and saw a new text message. "I'm here. Let me in." In that moment, my sole focus became to put as much distance between myself and that apartment as possible, as fast as I could. How long would it be before somebody came by and let him in as had happened with me? I darted into the bathroom and cleaned as much blood off of my face and hands as I could. I took off my shirt and left it there. I'd had the foresight to bring a change of clothes, and I didn't think it would work in my favor to keep a blood-soaked shirt in my car. I could hear knocking at the door as I left the apartment through the bedroom window. From the apartment building, I sprinted the few blocks to the side street where I'd parked, and as I sat in the front seat catching my breath, I contemplated the fact that I'd committed murder. Not only was I a killer, I was a murderer. Never again would I be able to take comfort in the idea that I wasn't such a bad guy because my violent fantasies were only in my mind. Everything and everyone I'd ever touch again would be touched by hands that had willfully taken life. I had crossed a line which I could never uncross, and the only course of action I could see myself taking was to do it again. Earlier that day, I made the semi-conscious decision to tune out everything I'd been conditioned to believe about murder for a few hours, which was long enough for me to commit one, and it felt great while I was doing it. Could I switch off my conscience for another few hours? Could I condition myself into a new system of belief regarding murder? I wanted to try. My old ways of thinking were what led me to this turning point, and I faced the decision to stick to them or embrace the new. I knew what it was to feel guilty because I'd spent much of my life feeling that way. I also knew what the inside of a psych ward looks like, and I was not eager to spend the rest of my life in one. Most of all, I knew what it was to be lonely and to feel unattractive, and this is how the idea occurred to me that I would stop being a human being and become a vampire. As a vampire, I could never be close to any human ever again. I could never be completely honest with anyone without them fearing me and trying to have me put away or put down. I had damned myself, but I was still alive and still desired to walk and commune with the living. Therefore, when I found someone I really liked, I could simply absorb their life energy so that they would be with me, within me, always. I would carry them with me wherever I went, and I would never be lonely again. Once my new friends were a part of me, it wouldn't be up to them to decide whether or not they would accept me. They would be me. Feeling better, I changed my shirt and drove until dawn.